bunch of
Quite the lead into this Ben Shapiro video. Oh, hi. Oh, we're doing like a box style kind of like we're cool and look at him. Look at him. He's wearing like a little like sweater and he's got like a war room behind him.
The richest and most powerful people on Earth will meet at an event in Davos, Switzerland, an event called the World Economic Forum, or WEF. The WEF looms large in the public imagination these days, viewed by some as a conspiratorial organization determined to control all of us. So what exactly...
Okay, really quickly. When did Ben Shapiro start doing this kind of content? Is this completely new this past year? Is he trying to like shift away from the debate bro format thing? I guess considering he doesn't do debates. Same. It makes sense.
Today, the WEF hosts the most important people on Earth. And those people gather to coordinate their activities in changing the world.
The future is not just happening. The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room. We have the means to improve the states of the world.
We'll get to more on the WEF in just one moment.
I think I understand why Ben Shapiro is doing this. For multiple times now, Ben Shapiro has gotten into tussles with people like Tucker Carlson for being more neocon aligned than Tucker or the other like more open fascists on the right wing. And I think that Ben Shapiro is trying to posture as being like, no, guys, I'm totally like an ultra far right fascist. It's communism for anything good to happen ever. Even though like I'm pretty sure that Ben Shapiro's detractors would accuse him of being the kind of person who would like the World Economic Forum.
If all this makes you a little bit nervous about the future of finance, well, maybe you might want to think about investing a little bit
in gold. Yes! Fantastic. Yep.
Schwab wrote a piece on the WF website. It was titled, "Now is the time for a great reset." In it, he said, quote, "The world must act jointly and swiftly to revamp all aspects of our societies and economies, from education to social contracts and working conditions. Every country, from the United States to China, must participate, and every industry, from oil and gas to tech, must be transformed. In short, we need a great reset of capitalism."
So notice that what's being described here has no policy power whatsoever. It is literally just a guy's blog post. Like, this is literally like an op-ed where he's like, hey, quick, everyone, while we're dealing with the COVID stuff, now's a great time for us to like restructure our economic, all the supply lines and stuff. Yeah. It's not a conspiracy theory. I mean, you can see it right here. WEF Chief Executive Officer Klaus Schwab described 3 core components of the Great Reset: creating conditions for a stakeholder economy. Again, I don't care for this bullshit, It's literally like, what if we created a system where the bourgeoisie are still in control, but, the bourgeoisie are like nice and stuff. The Great Reset, building in a more resilient, equitable, and sustainable way, utilizing environmental, social, and governance metrics, harnessing the innovations of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. In a speech introducing the initiative, International Monetary Fund Director Kristalina Georgieva listed 3 key aspects of a sustainable response to COVID-19: green growth, smarter growth, and fairer growth. Wow. All right.
We must build entirely new foundations for our economic and social systems. That Great Reset would require heavy-handed top-down power in pursuit of environmental redistributionism, which would require massive...
Environmental redistributionism? Does he mean economic what? What does he mean by that?
Social restructuring. As Schwab himself says, quote, "It's hard to comprehend how the move toward environmental sustainability could take place without a concomitant move toward social sustainability."
So, like, this is the core of the anti-World Economic Forum conspiracy theories. Even in their own milquetoast neoliberal way, Karl Schwab and the other WF people said, what if we did things slightly better than we are now? We will, however, have to deal with racism. And a bunch of conservatives around the world heard that and screamed, no, we want to keep the racism. That really is it. So in America today, there is a massive racial wealth gap. Now, to understand why that gap exists would involve acknowledging the existence of racism. Ben Shapiro is a massive racist, and like all racists, he wants to pretend that racism doesn't exist, but if you keep pushing the subject, then we'll show you what racism looks like. So as long as economic inequality is tied up in racism, there isn't any way to like attack or unweave this tangled, Gordian's knot of, cohabitating bigotries without something a little more substantial than what if we did capitalism nicer.
Social sustainability is, of course, a euphemism for social engineering. and the overthrow of market economies. That's why people like Greta Thunberg show up at Davos to pledge their lives to overthrowing capitalism.
I promise you the World Economic Forum does not want to overthrow capitalism. If only.
According to Schwab, this fourth industrial revolution will be all about integrating into a big data world driven by government and business. It will involve, quote, a fusion of technologies that is blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and biological spheres.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
And that, of course, will require even more top-down design and control. So, what will this great...
This is a very insubstantial video. This is reinforcing my belief that Ben Shapiro only made this video in a desperate effort to try to, like, rebrand himself after all of the shit with Tucker Carlson, you know? This video isn't even touching on anything. It's literally just like, hey guys, I hate the deep state too. I hate the big parentheses deep state too, you know? I'm Cuban. My family already went through this with Castro. Look how well that worked out. God damn. We need like a repatriation program for Gusanos or something, dude. Florida's fucked because of them. Oh my God. All of the former slave owners. I will abide and allow criticism of Castro, but anyone who pretends Castro is worse than Batista, right, you're going right back to Cuba, okay? We're sending you right back. You will drive the classic pastel car, okay? I don't know what it is about Cuba, but every single time I see photos in Cuba, I see like these adorable like pastel or colored cars or whatever, okay? You will eat the bug, you will live in the pod, you will drive the classic car.
Reset this new revolution look like? Well, it could look like replacement of traditional food sources by, say, alternative protein sources like bugs.
There we go. That's to eat the bugs.
The Davos agenda for 2022 included an article explaining, quote, insects are an excellent alternative source of protein and significantly reduce our carbon footprint. How exciting. It could look like widespread neurotechnological brain enhancements, as Schwab suggests will happen. Or maybe
like Elon? Isn't that what Elon wants? That's literally, like, Elon is a right-wing darling.
It'll just look like the end of private property ownership altogether. In 2016, the WEF released a video predicting that by 2030, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
This is such a surface, like, this is really boring, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's so surface level, there's no engagement or what, you just bring, oh, here's a quote from 2016, everyone knows this quote, you know? I don't even wanna, like, defend the World Economic Forum because I hate them. Obviously, the World Economic Forum is preferable to the insane fascist conspiracy theories that people make about them. You know, I'm not going to defend them, like, on the basis of the shit they've said. Just point out that people, like, lie about them. You know, I think the you'll own nothing and you'll be happy thing is a defense of the renter's economy, where nobody, like, owns anything, but instead you pay a much smaller fee to rent it because it's more economically efficient or whatever. I'm not defending any of this bullshit. I don't like the World Economic Forum, but fundamentally, conservatives agree with this point. Conservatives are literally in favor of this line of logic. This is about subscription and rent, and subscription and rent are beneficial to the bourgeois and landowners. And Republican economic policies have always massively favored those two groups. The Republicans have no issues whatsoever with, you know, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Notice how one of the conservative counterarguments to economic inequality is that you own a refrigerator, or that you own a microwave. Like, notice how common it is for them to counter any accusation of injustice with, like, well, you own something, you know? They are not pro-ownership. That's not something they care about. The whole modern economy relies on, it's a renter's economy, you know? False, they object to people being happy. That's true. The criticism of this quote is the happy part, not the you'll own nothing part, you know?
The new revolution will look like top-down social engineering by the big brains, all in the name of smoothing out the bumps of technological change. As Schwab writes, governments and regulatory agencies will need to collaborate closely with business and civil society.
Like they always have? Really, that's kind of self-explanatory there, I feel. Like, yeah, no shit.
Notice that at no point in this proposed structure does either liberty or representative democracy really play a role.
Why would those things play a role in the quotes that you've selected from, like, a decade of shit? Why would you're selecting quotes. What would you just chose to not select quotes that involve democracy. The World Economic Forum is pro-democracy, ostensibly, to the extent that capitalists can be. This is literally like, I have taken a book on 9/11, and I have found this one segment where a guy describes his breakfast the morning of 9/11, and I only quote the breakfast description of the pancakes. And it's like, why did you not mention 9/11 in this book, you know?
That's because liberty might suggest the irrelevance of the honchos at the WEF. It might suggest that they themselves are the obstructive force in the way of human happiness.
This is so late. This is pretty lazy. This is desperate. This was made in like a week. Maybe not even a week. This is a very unconvincing effort, you know? Shapiro really lost his edge. Dude's content is just lazy. Well, like I said, there's no real interest in talking about this subject. This is just meant to like signal to his viewers that he's woke on the JQ, like Tucker Carlson.
And representative democracy is too messy and slow for the fast-changing world the WEF wants. You need regulators working with business to change the rules at a moment's notice. The only
that is what regulators do. Yeah, regulators don't typically like wait on congressional bills. That's how regulators do stuff. You would want them to act quickly as opposed to like acting slowly. Yeah.
Solution, according to the WEF, is the very important people at the WEF, working in the name of a vague general will that never requires.
The WEF doesn't pretend to want to be the head of the organizations they're talking about. Like, the World Economic Forum says they think changes should happen. They're not suggesting that they like replace democracy and be put in charge of some kind of like massive regulatory body.
There's actual accountability to anyone. If all of this sounds frightening, that's because it is. The arrogance of a business and governmental elite seeking to control all of us is absolutely breathtaking. The policies discussed at Davos shape the elite caste in nearly all Western countries. When you hear about the end of carbon-based fossil fuels, or global tax regimes, or corporate governmental cooperation, a lot of that is coming from Davos and the World Economic Forum. When people talk about the globalists, the folks they most often mean are people like Klaus Schwab. And when those globalists get together at Davos, understand the ideas that they are discussing will have real-world effect on you, your business, your church, and your family.
Hold on. In summary. Drop it, everyone. Here, wait. From the drop onward. I really like the article they put here, which is the most frightening thing imaginable for an American. This means people in the developed world eating no more than 2 burgers per person per week. Oh no, dude. It's like horrifying to an American, you know? It's unimaginable.